Why is this camera so fucking shitty? There we go. Happy Friday, everyone. And with this Friday comes the 474th day since I moved from New York City to Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, I'm Shane, the New Yorker. See, I put this on, half a Mets jersey, thinking, oh, I'll put on a Vegas shirt on the other side. Realized I had no Vegas specific shirts. So, you know, this prop, this gag, they're not gonna work. Boom! Since it is the completely unremarkable 474th day that I've been here, I'm gonna duke it out between the two cities. Run down the list and tell you who I think does what better. A little mano-a-mano, a little side-by-side comparison. Very Mortal Kombat, New York versus Las Vegas. Now let's start off with a good one. The weather. Almost anyone is going to tell you that the summers here in Vegas are brutal, and they're not great. I mean, it gets really, really hot, and Las Vegans are going to tell you that the winters are brutal. They are out right now in beanies and bubble jackets, and it's like, computer, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 54 degrees.
It's 54 degrees. They call this winter. Shut up! Computer, off. So they don't really have winters here. They have about 4.5 months of autumn. I mean, it's January, and I can have my patio door open. Now the summers though, that's the big one. That's the one that everyone talks about with Las Vegas. And if you ask me, I'll take a Vegas summer over New York summer any day. 115 in dry air where, yes, in the sun, it's brutal and you can't be out there for too long, but you're really just going from AC to AC to AC. And then when you're in the shade, it actually makes a difference. Is better than 95 to 100 at 100% humidity, where the second you step out of the shower, you need a new one immediately because you just are drenched because of the oppressive, disgusting humidity. You're in the subway with thousands of other people cramped in and their BO in your face. It's just, the winters in New York are harsh. I do miss snow. I do miss having 4 seasons, but not really. 4.5 months of autumn, month of spring, and then the rest summer that doesn't have any humidity attached to it. Weather goes to Vegas.
Thank you very much.
Getting around. Now this is going to be broke up into several subgroups. The first one is walking. Hands down, that goes to New York. New York is one of the most pedestrian-friendly cities in all the world. Vegas, you see someone walking like yours truly who doesn't have a car yet, and people are like, people already look at me like, so like you combine this with this and these boobs and not having a car and I'm walking and people are just like, oh! Mass transit. Now Vegas is far from being the worst urban / kind of suburban city when it comes to mass transit. The buses they're not that bad here. I haven't taken them yet, but they're far from horrible. And they do have the loop, which is free, that takes you around points of interest on the strip. But come on. That's not even a question. New York City has one of the most expansive, mega, insane, filthy, overpriced, horribly serviced mass transit systems in the world, but it does have that legendary mass transit system. And it can get you pretty much anywhere most of the time. The buses in New York are also better than the ones in Vegas. I mean, mass transit, it goes to New York City.
Forget about it!
Biking and other forms like skateboarding and rollerblading. Like, does anybody even rollerblade anymore? You know what I don't understand? I'm gonna go on a tangent here for a second. Shane, you're gonna go on a tangent? I'm shocked. What the fuck is the point of those motorized skateboards where you control the thing in your hand, you got like a little like, I mean, how lazy have we gotten as a society that the kids and adults too need to be on? What happened to the old days of the old skateboards you had to kick off? And I couldn't do it. It was a skill set. I still probably couldn't do the ones either because, you know, I'm old, but yeah. All right, I digress. New York wins when it comes to bikes and
forget about it.
Cars, highways, and roads. New York City has way too much congestion, too many cars, and it's just a nightmare to get around in a car. And they say that driving is insane in New York City. I've now driven in both, and I think Vegas is a lot crazier because the people here on the roads, they're bat shit crazy. It's a very, very dangerous city to drive in, but it is a car-friendly city, and the roads are far more accommodating to driving your car. And the highways, they're a lot more easily navigated and in better shape and wide for the cars. When it comes to cars, highways, and roads, Las Vegas wins.
Thank you very much.
Traffic. And I've made this separate from the highways and the roads because there's no traffic here in Las Vegas. Very, very little amount. At the Spaghetti Bowl, which is where a lot of the highways converge and branch off from each other, and between Spring Mountain, which is equivalent to pretty much between the Wynn and the Palazzo, if you're thinking about it in hotel strip terms, to Tropicana, which, as you guessed, is where the Tropicana is, and Excalibur, New York, MGM Grand. Even during rush hour, there's not. Whereas New York is congested, you know, maybe at 2 a.m. it'll be smooth sailing, but even then sometimes. So hands down, the better place to drive as far as traffic goes is Las Vegas.
Thank you very much.
Car insurance. Now I'm gonna read off some numbers here of average insurance rates per city as of November 22. When I say per city, because it's not just as simple as Las Vegas and New York. Las Vegas was divided up into Henderson, North Las Vegas, and Las Vegas proper. So Henderson, $1,715 per year.
Cha-ching.
North Las Vegas, $2,030 per year for average car insurance.
Cha-ching.
Las Vegas proper, $2,045 annually.
Cha-ching.
And in second place in all of the US of major cities, $3,914 marks New York City.
Cha-ching.
So while everyone here complains about while everyone here complains about how high their insurance is, the clear winner is Las Vegas, because New York City, damn.
Thank you very much.
Rideshare, as in availability and access, speed and price. Las Vegas, if you're looking to even do rideshare as your primary income or on the side, that's actually a viable option here. Rideshare goes to Las Vegas.
Thank you very much.
Go to New York though,
Forget about it.
because the taxis here are way overpriced. Airport access. Now Las Vegas has 2 airports, but really just one. Harry Reid International Airport. That's the main one you're always gonna go to unless you're super bougie and rich and you go into the North Las Vegas one, and you're not. Whereas New York City has LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark, and you can live 5 minutes away from one of them and still take you an hour to get there. Whereas wherever you are in the Las Vegas Valley, even the farthest away, Centennial, North Las Vegas, you're still at most 30 minutes away from the airport with traffic. In New York City, if you have a 9 p.m. flight and you don't have pre-check, and even if you do, sometimes you know they're not open, you want to be there at least 7 p.m. Wherever you are in New York City, for the most part, you gotta leave 5 p.m. to be super safe. Whereas here, if you have a 9 p.m. flight, you want to get there by 7, you literally have to leave 6:45, maybe 6:30. If you're just a little paranoid like myself. Las Vegas wins an airport access.
Thank you very much.
Dating and social life. Now, I've gone into some detail on this channel about how just god-awful dating in Las Vegas is. And I mean, don't get me wrong. People in New York are gonna let you down just as much as they will here. Believe me. And really, that's true for anywhere. But the numbers here, you know what? I will let Pat Shane go into details on just kind of like number statistics here, trying to find your person. Take it away, me. There's not a lot of people to choose from. There's what, 2.5, 2.8 million people, and that's including Vegas, Henderson, and the surrounding areas. Half of them are gonna already be in committed relationships. Then half of them, maybe if you're lucky, are what your orientation is. You know, like, you know what I mean, the pool for you. Of half of them maybe are going to be age appropriate for you. Then who are you really going to connect with after that? I mean, it's rough. He could get it. Anyway. So for all the reasons I mentioned in that flashback to the sheer casuality and carelessness and just this mehness and indecision that comes with dating in Las Vegas, it's almost as bad in New York, but at least you have a larger pool, so you have a better shot. And then when it comes to social life, like, it's just so much more of a social city in New York. Again, there's more people. You can say to coworkers or to anyone or a friend, meet me at this bar at this time, and you can get there no problem, and you can be out super late. In Las Vegas, most things close at 2 a.m. at the latest. In New York, it's 4 a.m., sometimes later. So you just have a plethora of options of places to go and be social, and so much more life and energy and numbers of people in New York City. And sometimes that can make dating worse in New York City because people think the grass is always green the other side, whereas supposed to here, everyone's just like, figuring out my dating goals. All in all, New York does win in dating and social life. Now, if you like being transient and you like being able to just kind of wham bam, thank you ma'am, really it's a tie. So let's say you do manage to find that person. Then you're looking to build a life with that person and maybe start a family. So these next bunch of categories are going to go into that, and I'm going to read off a couple of stats for some of them, which is why we're at my desk. So cost of moving, whether you're relocating to New York City or Las Vegas, or you're moving to a bigger place to accommodate your growing family in either spot, hands down it goes to Vegas.
Thank you very much.
Real estate, again, Vegas wins.
Thank you very much.
New York City real estate is friggin' ridiculous. Vegas real estate on the whole is going to be far more affordable. I mean, I'm blessed enough to live in a luxury apartment that would be easily $5,000 a month for a 1-bedroom that's brand new, washer, dryer unit, dishwasher, stainless steel. I could not afford this in New York City at all. Living conditions. I have mentioned the term pre-war building to people here, and they have no idea what that means. And of course, for those who don't know, pre-war means buildings that were built before World War II. New York City is made up of almost entirely pre-war buildings, and those buildings are falling apart. If they're not maintained well, their time is a ticking. And with that comes a whole ton of different cracks and crevasses and things that allow for cheese to come out. And I'm gonna get into that later. But all in all, Las Vegas, while not the newest city in the world, most of the architecture is going to range from 50 years old to brand spanking new. 20 years ago, it was the quickest expanding city in America. They're literally still building up the mountainside. So you're gonna get a lot of new out here, a lot of bang for your buck. And so physical living conditions of your apartment and or home gots to go to Las Vegas.
Thank you very much.
Education. Something I need more of. The education system out here in Vegas is atrocious. I mean, I don't want to say atrocious, but it ain't good. UNLV is an exception. UNLV is a very, very good school, but as far as regular standard public school goes, for elementary school, middle school, high school, it goes to New York City. It has a lot of broken elements to it, a lot of flaws, but on the whole, you're going to get a superior education. The sheer amount of specialty schools, art schools, you name it, programs for those who need extra assistance and disabilities and whatnot. New York City wins hands down with education.
Forget about it.
Medical. One of the first things I was told, it was weird because when I moved here, I feel like everyone, all the rideshare drivers knew I had just moved here. It was like I had plastered on my face. I mean, one also thought I was 75 and retired here, so that's, but I was wearing a mask. They all told me certain things. One that I won't get into. One of the things was, quote, if you get sick, get your ass to LA. That should tell you. If you want plastic surgery, you're in a pretty good spot. Everything but plastic surgery, New York wins. And even then it probably wins too.
Forget about it.
Which city is pet friendlier? Las Vegas.
Thank you very much.
New York City, most of them don't allow pets. I mean, forget just dogs. We're talking cats. We're talking whatever. Whereas here, they're a lot more pet friendly. You'll pay a fee, but it's not going to be astronomical like the fees you got to pay in New York City. So it's cheaper to care for your cat or dog or what have you out here. Vegas is a lot more of a pet friendly city, and that comes with being more suburban than urban. Yeah, it's not even a contest. Vegas wins in pet friendly cities. Crime. Huge one. A huge one. Which do you think is the more crime-ridden city? Put it in the comments below. And while you're at it, could you give me a like, a share, a subscribe, hit the bell icon, I already said leave a comment. All that good stuff. Cream. So in my research, the same basic stats kept coming up. The numbers vary a little bit just because some were only taking into consideration 2021, others only 2022. This particular one took into consideration both those years and the early numbers from 2023. The range goes from 1 being considered low crime to 100 being, the highest crime rate possible. This is based on FBI data in January of 2023. Violent crime in New York City gets a 28.2 out of 100, whereas in Las Vegas, violent crime gets 40.9. The average in the United States is 22.7. Property crime, New York gets 24.9. Las Vegas gets 43.4, with the United States average being at 35.4. I think it's obvious that New York City wins.
Forget about
Don't
it.
believe what they tell you in the news. New York City is not in the 10th level of hell. It's just not the truth. It's not the case. Has it gone up? Sure. But is it what the news will have you believe and sensationalize it? No. Las Vegas is worse for crime. Supermarkets. Wow, this refrigerator lighting is harsh. I would trade all the Albertsons, all the Smiths, which are the 2 biggest chains here in Las Vegas, as well as my left and possibly even my right nut, because I ain't having kids, for a really, really good shop right now. That being said, you know, New York City proper has a lot of those shitty local grocery stores, you know, like the crappy Key Foods and what is it, the Super Fresh. Woo! Wow, that's bright. You know, all those little ones that you can walk to. They're more frequent than the local supermarkets here because this is a car-based city and New York City is a walking-based city, but they're not good. In the Bronx, you know, you go into, you know, it used to be Wallbounds back in the 80s and 90s, and now it's like the Stop and Shop or what was the Pathmark at Bay Plaza or something like that. You know, the Costco's, the BJ's, giggity, the Walmarts, Trader Joe's, the Whole Foods, Sprouts out here is not good. You know, all those regular culprits, they're all here. They're all basically the same quality, and the prices are better out here. I can't include Jersey and Long Island and Westchester supermarkets into this. I was gonna give it to New York City. It's in my notes to give it to New York City, but this is a tie. This is the first tie. Supermarkets are a tie. Job opportunities. New York City.
Forget about
It's just
it.
a bigger market, more companies, better variety of jobs. Vegas can't even come close. Cost of living. Now, here are some statistics that I found based off late 2022. The cost of living in Las Vegas is minus 45.6% lower than in New York. So, cost of living goes to Vegas because
Thank you very much.
salary. Employers in Las Vegas typically pay 13.5% less than employers in New York for the same type of job and the same type of company. Obviously, salaries go to New York City.
Forget about it.
Clubs goes to Las Vegas, hands down. They're expensive everywhere, but here, it's jumping. Remember that guy? Remember that video where, like, you know, they keep fake dubbing it and whatnot, and he's just like, I love that video. Bars. New York City wins.
Forget about
Just the
it.
sheer amount of them, the accessibility, the closeness to mass transit, the overall vibe, and the aesthetic. Like here, I had to get used to everything in Vegas looks like it's in a cave. You know, for the summer, keep, you know, no windows, keep the sun out. It takes a while to get used to that aesthetic, and if you grow up with that, that's great. But New York tends to have a better architectural vibe and aesthetic to it, and just everything about New York City bars is superior to Vegas bars. Now that being said, both places you're going to be able to strike up fun conversation or annoying conversation with anyone from anywhere on the globe, but you know, you can find it both places. So New York City bars, I gotta give the edge to it. I just spilled it.
You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
The dirtiest word in the English language, politics. This is one that I can't give to either New York or Las Vegas because it depends on the individual. I lean very left, so for me, New York City wins. New York City is very blue, with the exception of Staten Island, but no one really considers Staten Island part of New York City anyway, unless you're from there, but whatever. Long Island is very red. Upstate New York is very purple, just like with Nevada. Nevada is an overwhelmingly red state until you get to Las Vegas, and then it's predominantly blue, but even then, you know, it teeters back and forth. We went from having a Democratic governor last year to a Republican governor this year. It's a very, very purple state that can go either way, and I don't see any signs of that changing anytime soon. So if you're a moderate, Vegas wins. If you're a Democrat or lean left, New York City's gonna win. If you're a Republican, you're gonna feel more comfortable in Las Vegas than you will in New York City. So that is an individual, political, ideological preference, and so this gets an NA. Diversity. Now, both New York and Las Vegas are huge tourist destinations, and so you're gonna have a melting pot, but not in every single region of Las Vegas you find that, mostly just in the Strip and downtown. And then it's mostly transient. Now, there's many different communities here. I live just down the block from Chinatown and Little Korea and whatnot, but New York City is the crossroads of the world, a melting pot. And you're gonna find that in all 5 boroughs, including Staten Island. You're gonna find great diversity. Less there, and similarly in the Bronx, it's not gonna be as diverse as Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn. New York wins this hands down. If you're looking for residents from all different backgrounds, all different cultures, New York City is just one of the most magical and beautiful places on earth to find that.
Forget about it.
Sports. Vegas, don't got a lot. They have the World Championship WNBA Aces, go Aces, that play over at Mandalay Bay. At T-Mobile, they have the Las Vegas Golden Knights professional hockey team, which is the city's team because they were created here in the city, and the people here embrace them. They are their own. They own them. They've never been anywhere else. You're not a true Las Vegan until you've gone to a Knights game or have Knights paraphernalia. I have neither, so clearly I'm not really a Las Vegan yet. And of course, the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. They're not Vegas's team. Most people here root for somebody else, but we do have one of the two newest stadiums in the NFL. The Pro Bowl's here this year, and the Super Bowl is going to be here next year. And of course, we have the Las Vegas Aviators, the AAA affiliate of the Oakland A's. They play out in downtown Summerlin at the Las Vegas Ballpark, which I've covered on this channel before. It's beautiful. So really, you're looking at 4 major teams. If I've missed anyone, please let me know. The hope is that we're going to get a professional soccer team here. And the thought is that the Oakland A's themselves are going to move here at some point. I would prefer that they didn't. The people of Oakland have lost enough. It's not their fault that the city and the team can't get their shit together. I would love to see them keep their team and for Vegas to get an expansion team. But that's not likely to happen. It's more likely that the A's are going to come here. New York City has the Mets. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's fucking go Mets. The Skankies, the Nets, the Rangers, can't even say the Liberty because Dolan shipped them up state to Westchester, which is complete and total bullshit. I digress. The Knicks and the Jersey Jets, the Jersey Giants. They play out at MetLife. That's a tough one for me to say whether or not New York City has 2 football teams because they kind of do and they kind of don't. So if you take the Giants and the Jets out of it, New York City has 6 professional teams. You put them in, they've got 8. Plus the US Open. Plus all the different events that come to New York City that just, they don't come here to Las Vegas. Sure, we have Formula One and we have the raceway. Obviously, New York City wins. And obviously, for life, let's go Mets. God, I wish that hat said to make my fat face look even fatter. Nature. When people ask me why I moved here, one of the reasons I inevitably give them is that I wanted to be closer to nature. And people go, Vegas is nature? It's just the desert. The desert is nature. I've said it before. It is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. But I'm never more at peace than I am by the water, so I moved to the desert. Doesn't seem to make sense. New York has one of the most beautiful waterfronts in all of the world, especially for a city. And the water itself is disgusting and gross, and if you go in it, you're gonna come out with like cancer, 3 eyeballs, and maybe a little extra other thing, but I haven't tested it out yet, but maybe I should. So if you truly need to be on or by the water, it goes to New York, but you can't really feel the full immersiveness there as you do here. If you love hiking, Vegas has some of the greatest trails, mountain climbing, horseback riding, you name it. Vegas is surrounded by absolute beauty and nature. And so I gotta give this round to Las Vegas.
Thank you very much.
Throwing this in there, water. Now, New York City water, tap water is the best. The reservoirs are the best. Vegas water is very harsh on your skin and your hair. Tap water goes to New York. However, we all know that the Southwest is experiencing a drought. And while New York City would appear to be the clear winner with just having enough water to survive, in the future, everyone's going to be looking to Vegas to sustain what water they have left. As natural resources start to dry up, Vegas has instituted revolutionary methods to conserve and preserve their water, to the point that with Lake Mead drying up, Vegas is actually the least affected of all the states that get their supply from the Colorado River. So Vegas gets the win for having the vision to save our futures.
Thank you very much.
Scales and legs and stingers, oh my. In New York, you're never more than 5 feet away from 10,000 roaches. They live in the walls, and sometimes those pre-war buildings I was talking about, you can hear them behind the walls. And the rats and the mice, they're everywhere too. The city's infested with them. However, they're not all that deadly. They're a nuisance, they're a pain in the ass, they can cause health problems. But out here in Las Vegas, we got snakes, we got tarantulas. Every once in a while, and they're not so deadly, a grasshopper infestation, like the locust that comes from above, because we are the city of sin. And of course, we have scorpions. Now, I remember thinking, oh, scorpions are gonna be black, like Hakuma Sente when the scorpion came out. But they're not. They're tan. They're like this. For the most part, an adult not gonna be too much at risk as long as there's a reasonable amount of time between you and getting medical attention. However, a child and a pet, a lot of people go hiking with their dogs, they are susceptible. I mean, if your cat or small dog gets stung by a scorpion, hold them in your arms and say goodbye. They're not surviving 9 out of 10 times. This is a split win. Indoors, Vegas wins because it's rare that a scorpion's gonna get in, and you're not gonna have the same kind of roaches and rats and so forth as you're gonna have in New York City. But New York City is gonna win when it comes to the outside, because as much of a nuisance as water bugs and roaches and rats are, with the exception of crats, they're real. Look it up. Mole people, crap pets. Look it up. Or the rats that say like 125th Street on the 2 and 3 line that own that station. They're like, get the fuck out of our home. They're mostly gonna leave you alone, and they're mostly harmless. And they're disgusting. You're not at risk, or your children or your pets, of dying. New York wins on the outside. Vegas wins on the inside.
Thank you very much.
Culture, entertainment, and the arts. This is a good one. Vegas has the cirque shows. New York City has Broadway. Both have comedy shows. Both have burlesque shows. Both have touring shows. Both have independent theater, although it's a whole lot more in New York City. The entertainment is there. Culture is there. But take First Fridays, which happens on the first Friday of every month, hence the name, very, very clever. Happens in the Arts District between the Strip and downtown. Local vendors, musicians, artists, breweries, restaurants, and you can walk around. Just, it's a fun cultural experience. But that's once a month. And while there are festivals, there are different events around the city, it pales in the scope that New York City has. New York is the cultural and artistic hub of America. Vegas is working their way up, and I do expect that in 10 years, it'll be a lot bigger. In 5 years, hell, in 2 years, the arts, the entertainment, the culture will just continue to grow. But New York City, it's a good fight, but New York City wins this fight. Hands down.
Forget about it.
Little caveat to that though, the residencies that happen here, and it's not just has-beens. Everyone's like, oh, it's always like Donny Osmond or Barry Manilow. It's always like has-beens. No, it's not. Lady Gaga basically owns the Dolby Live Theater at Park MGM. We have Bruno Mars. We have tons of relevant and old school artists here for extended periods of time in Las Vegas. Whereas in New York, you get people coming to do concerts on their tour. The concert going experience, I think, is superior in Las Vegas.
Thank you very much.
So, a little caveat to that, but overall, arts, entertainment, and culture, New York City still wins. And last but not least, food. This is probably the best battle, which is why I saved it for last. New York City is known as just being an amazing place of food, and it still is, but I do have to say that since the pandemic, a lot of the mom and pop places have kind of fallen by the wayside. It's just not as good. Places that were institutions because of the financial hardship that they faced and all the challenges that came with the shutdown, some of them just never recovered, never came back, and others just, their quality has gone down. All the major chains are still there, and the fancier places are spread out. Whereas in Las Vegas, the fancier places, the destination restaurants, they are in a condensed space of the Strip, somewhat downtown. And so you get this 5-mile radius of just some of the best cuisine in the world. You can take your pick to what your preference is. Do you like having it be more spread out through New York City? Or do you like it being in a condensed area that's easily accessible to all? And then you have local Vegas food that has some gems. But overall, in my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong, Las Vegas local food just isn't on the level of New York City, even post-pandemic. In many ways, it's a tie. I think Vegas takes the taco as far as like the grander places. New York City wins in the local mom and pop restaurants that you seek out, you look up, you do the research, and you go and find it, and it's an experience, but a more personal experience. And Las Vegas, going to a place that you've always heard of and seen on TV and seen reviews for on YouTube and on Yelp, and you find it, and it's this grand experience. And the food, equally as good in both places. Well, slap my ass and call me a baby, because I did not think this was gonna end up so close, but 17 for New York, 16 for Las Vegas, 2 ties in the middle, and they thrown in for good measure. And 17-16, New York City clearly wins. But you say, Shane, New Yorker, in Vegas, who wins for you? Well, I mean, I spent the majority of my life, over 4 decades in New York City. I mean, it always has my heart. Vegas has a good portion of my heart too, though. So, where has your heart? Tell me in the comments below. And given the choice between living in New York City or Las Vegas, which one would you choose? Or if either of them, maybe none of them, where else would you go? And is there anything that I should have compared between the 2 cities that I didn't? Tell me. I will do it in the future. But until then, I thank you for watching. I appreciate you for watching. I love you for watching. You take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. I hope it stayed focused this time.
Forget about it.